Hi friends, today we shall be talking about how multimedia has become an integral part of World Wide Web and that plain text and pictures are no longer enough for this highway. Internet in present times is just not possible without it. Launched in 1989, the World Wide Web was not originally designed with the multimedia in mind, but rather a simple method for delivering text documents formatted in HTML with occasional inline graphic illustrations and figures. By 1995, because it was operational, essentially free and good enough to support traffic, the web had become a full-bore information highway of words and pictures with tens of millions of users cruising along it. Today, we see streaming of videos, online radios, online games, video conferencing and a lot of other multimedia on World Wide Web, and all this is possible because of the blazing speed of information on the express highway. Internet services. To many users, the internet means the World Wide Web, but the web is only the latest and most popular of services available today on the internet. Email, file transfer, discussion groups and news groups, real-time chatting by text, voice and video, and the ability to log into remote computers are common as well. Each internet service is implemented on an internet server by dedicated software known as daemon. Actually, daemons only exist on Unix or Linux systems. On other systems such as Windows, these services may run as regular applications or background processes. Daemons are agent programs that run in the background, waiting to act on requests from the outside. In the case of the internet, daemons support protocols such as the hypertext transfer protocol from the World Wide Web, the post office protocol for email or the file transfer protocol for exchanging files. You have probably noticed that the first few letters of a uniform resource locator as shown here in example www.timestream.com/index.html notify a server as to which daemon to bring into play to satisfy a request. In many cases, the daemons for the web, mail, news and FTP may run on completely different servers, each isolated by a security firewall from other servers on a network. Some of the internet services are as shown here in this table. To work with multimedia on the internet, you must work within the requirements of the appropriate protocol using recognizable documents and formats. A voice attachment to an email message, for example, must be identified by the post office daemon for what it is and then be transmitted with the correct coding to the receiving computer. The receiver must have the proper software and hardware for decoding the information and playing it back. To identify the nature of the data transmitted and by inference the purpose of that data, the internet uses a standard list of file name extensions called multipurpose internet mail extensions or MIME types. For example, with Internet Explorer, you can define Adobe's Acrobat files as a MIME type and select the Acrobat Reader as the player application. These are not just used by the email daemon, but by convention by other internet daemons including the web's HTTP daemon. Perhaps the most widely installed HTTP software for managing web pages is the open source application called Apache. Multimedia elements are typically saved and transmitted on the internet in the appropriate MIME type format and are named with the proper extension for that type. For example, shockwave flash animation files end in .swf. Image files end in .jpg, .gif or .png. Sound files end in .au, .wave, .aif or .mp3. QuickTime and other video clips end in .mov, mp4 or AVI formats. Multimedia on the web. During the coming years, most multimedia experiences on the internet will occur on the World Wide Web, programmed within the constraints of HTML, then stretched by the enhanced capabilities provided by XML, Java, JavaScript, and special plugins like Flash and QuickTime to enable browsers to exceed their limits. These tools are used to build Web 2.0 sites where there is collaboration and information sharing, such as seen in blogs, on wikis, and at social networking sites such as Facebook and Twitter. To design and make effective multimedia for this environment, developers need to understand not only how to create and edit the elements of multimedia, but also how to deliver it for HTML browsers and plugins or player vehicles. Well crafted, professionally rendered sites on the web include text, images, audio and animation presented in a user friendly interface that balances the bandwidth deficit against user patience. The bandwidth deficit will certainly be met with technology solutions, but there is a terrific need for high quality, compelling content and good multimedia developers to fill the creative void. Tools for the World Wide Web. In the late 1990s, multimedia plugins and commercial tools aimed at the web entered the marketplace at a furious pace, each competing for visibility in an increasingly noisy venue. In few years since the birth of the first line-driven HTTP daemon in Switzerland, millions of web surfers had become hungry for cool enhancements to entertaining sites. Website and page developers needed creative tools to feed the surfers, while surfers needed browsers and the plugins and players to make these cool multimedia enhancements work. A combination of the explosion of these tools and user demand for performance stresses the orderly development of the core HTML standard. The stunning growth of the internet as well as expansion of wireless mobile phone connectivity to the internet has caused many multimedia developers to redirect their creative efforts towards providing software solutions for these arenas. Web servers. The working of the web involves communication between two computers, a server and a client. The server delivers a file when a client asks for it. The playback or display performance of your multimedia content depends upon the speed and capabilities of the computer and software serving it, and also on the bandwidth and load factors of the internet. A growing number of software vendors provide web servers of varying strength and capacity and for a variety of platforms, all of which meet the requirements of the hypertext transfer protocol. A server is technically not the hardware, but the software. You should invest in server software that will stand up to your intended use and be supported by the vendor. Most vendors will also recommend hardware configurations. This combination of software and hardware is critical to your success if you wish to optimize response time your connections per second, and your throughput. Web browsers. Your computer's performance is as important as the bandwidth of your connection to the web. Web browsers are applications that run on a user's personal computer to provide the interactive graphical interface for searching, finding, and viewing text documents, sounds, animations, and other multimedia resources on the web. In 1996, as many as 50 browsers competed for market share, each boasting special or unique features, performance, and cost. By mid 2001, only two serious competitors remained, Netscape and Microsoft. And Netscape, because of its bad policy and unable to deliver, was dead by 2006. From Netscape's ashes arose Mozilla Firefox as an open source competitor to Microsoft Internet Explorer. Today, the majority of visitors to your website will be using Microsoft's Internet Explorer, winner of the browser wars. In designing a website, then you should be certain that your documents and plugins work and look good using Internet Explorer. Search engines. You should become familiar with the operation of one or more search engines. They will fret out information for you in seconds, information that would take months to find searching in a traditional library. Individualized personal search engines are available that can search the entire public web, while enterprise search engines can search intranets and mobile search engines can search PDAs and even cell phones. Web page markers and site builders. To deliver multimedia on the web today, you should know some HTML, meaning that you must place the proper tags and references into your documents to launch and control your multimedia. Many HTML editors and web page making applications offer to shortcut your HTML learning curve and working effort. If you use one of these editors, enjoy its easing your work effort, but do not shy away from learning the syntax and tags of the language. HTML documents are simple ASCII text files saved to disk without any formatting at all, no bolding, underlining, special fonts, margins or tabs. Professional web page developers often use only a word processor like BBEdit for the Mac or WordPad in Windows rather than drag and drop HTML page builders, and they insert text and tags into their documents manually or with personalized shortcut keys and helper scripts. HTML currently includes about 50 tags, and once you understand their properties, saving it to your website can be a straightforward process. Plain HTML may not be enough to create dynamic sites on the fly. To build sites based upon user preferences or that display live information pulled from databases or spreadsheets, you should be familiar with programming environments such as Microsoft's Active Server Pages, Adobe's Cold Fusion, which uses Cold Fusion markup language, or the open source and readily available PHP. For other powerful options beyond plain HTML, knowledge of dynamic HTML, extensible markup language, and cascading style sheets will enhance your skill set. Plugins and delivery vehicles. Plugins add the power of multimedia to web browsers by allowing users to view and interact with new types of documents and images. Helper applications or players also provide multimedia power by displaying or running files downloaded from the internet by your browser, but helpers are not seamlessly integrated into the operation of the browser itself. When an unrecognized embedded MIME type that can't be displayed within your browser, the browser will automatically launch a helper application to view or run it. However, this helper starts up and runs separately from the browser. Many plugins are designed to perform special tasks not available within the plugin installed. If you land on a web page containing embedded compressed images, for example, and the proper plugin to decompress those images is not installed, you will not be able to view the images. Designers work around this problem by including hyperlinks in their pages, which direct the users to site where the missing plugin may be found. Users must then download and install the required plugin and then restart their browser. This is all a bit cumbersome because downloading and installing plugins is perceived as a hassle for the end user. Many tool developers use the Java and JavaScript capabilities already built into today's web browsers. Setting up servers for some of the multimedia plugins is not a trivial task, and many internet service providers will not support high bandwidth data streams for fear of slowing down their internet connections by serving your streaming voice or video to the world. Indeed, while a plugin or a player may be free and readily available to anyone who wishes it, the software to actually build, compress, manipulate and serve the special data may be difficult and expensive, since the company makes money from the development tool, not the client software. In the following discussion, we shall be talking about the image, text, sound and animation plugins required by the various browsers. Images. Browsers enabled for HTML5 will read and display bitmapped JPEG, GIF and PNG image files as well as scalable vector graphic files. Vector files are a mathematical description of the lines, curves, fills and patterns needed to draw a picture, and while they typically do not provide the rich detail found in bitmaps, they are smaller and can be scaled without image degradation. Plugins to enable viewing of vector formats such as Flash are useful, particularly when some provide high octane compression schemes to dramatically shrink file size and shorten the time spent downloading and displaying them. File size and compression sound a recurring theme on the internet, where data rich images, movies and sounds may take many seconds, minutes or even longer to reach the end user. Vector graphics are also device independent, in that the image is always displayed at the correct size and with the maximum number of colors supported by the computer. Unlike bitmapped files, a single vector file can be downloaded, cached and then displayed multiple times at different scaled sizes on the same or different web page. Sound over the web is managed in a few different ways. Digitized sound files in various common formats such as MP3, WAV, AIF or AU may be sent to your computer and then played either as they are being received or once they are fully downloaded. MIDI files may also be received and played as these files are more compact, but they depend upon your computer's MIDI setup for quality. Speech files can be specially encoded into a token language and sent at great speed to another computer to be untokenized and played back in a variety of voices. Sounds may be embedded into QuickTime, Windows Media and MPEG movie files. Some sounds can be multicast, so multiple users can simultaneously listen to the same data streams without duplication of data across the internet. Web-based telephones also transmit data packets containing sound information. Text. Text and document plugins such as the popular Adobe Acrobat Reader gets you past the display limitations of HTML and web browsers, where fonts are dependent on end users' preferences and page layout is primitive. In file formats provided by Adobe Acrobat, for example, special fonts and graphic images are embedded as data into the file and travel with it. So, what you see when you view that file is precisely what the document's maker intended. Animation, video and presentation. The most data intense multimedia elements to travel the internet are video streams containing both images and synchronized sound, and commonly packaged as Apple's QuickTime, Microsoft's Video for Windows and MPG files. Also data rich are the files for proprietary formats such as Keynote, Microsoft PowerPoint and other presentation applications. In all cases, the trade-offs between bandwidth and quality are constantly in your face when designing, developing and delivering animation or motion video for the web. 3D worlds. Three-dimensional environments and experiences on the web are now possible with software such as Second Life, Paper Vision within Flash, Flash CS4 and Adobe Director for development and the Shockwave player for delivery. These have supplanted virtual reality modeling language, that is VRML, as an independent environment specifically designed to handle high performance 3D worlds containing 3D text and images, textures, animations, morphs, multiple viewpoints, collision detection, gravity, sounds and all the arcade elements associated with full-born game action. With claims that well executed interactive 3D content can make nearly any website more compelling and effective and can better attract, engage and inform. Intel's algorithms and Adobe's delivery system allow 3D content to be automatically scaled and tailored to each user's system and available bandwidth. Spinning off from a foundation of vector graphics and animations, 3D renderings and creative whole worlds present only the latest of multimedia challenges and learning curves for web developers. As this 3D technology becomes refined and end user bandwidth increases during the coming years, the very simple shape of web pages will be altered forever. So friends, in this lecture we have discussed the origin of internet, defined what a computer network is and how internet domains, addresses and interconnections work, and finally talked about the current state of multimedia on the internet and tools for the World Wide Web. In the next discussion, we shall talk about employing the basic methods for displaying elements of multimedia on a web page, manipulating the appearance of text on the web, determine which graphic formats are best suited for different types of images and how they can be manipulated, and also talk about audio, video and animation on the web page. So, see you in the next lecture. Thank you very much.